I am Ann-Peggy Divine. Welcome to the Divine Design, the podcast where we unfold heaven on earth and reframe spirituality and theology for a new cosmic era. Your journey on human evolution and integration of your divine design starts here. Hello, Douglas. It's so nice to have you on this podcast.
Thanks. I thank you for inviting me. This is going to be an experience.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be an experience. And we just talk about the theme is divine balance and health.
Okay.
And,
Yes.
and we
Okay.
have spoken earlier about divine balance and divine intervention, but like a cosmic phenomena, how do uh, the universe work to support our health?
Oh, okay. Well, that's a really big question, and that's you know, uh, because I work in the natural health. I do consulting, and I've been doing that for about 30 years. And it's been a progress. It's been a change for me over the 30 years from what I used to think and to what I think now.
Yeah.
And the difference would be it starts off with the mind, because when your education and everything like this, and you want to heal, you want to do that, and then the ego wants to help people, and you want to get the reward for it and everything, and then it eventually you realize you can't heal everybody. Things happen, things don't happen that you expect, and it's hard because you can't take things personally. And eventually things move from you either have to get numb, or you have to try and understand, because you see, especially with children and stuff, when they get sick or something, you realize that there's something is, I mean, it bothers you. It has to bother you as much as you try and put a wall up. It's kind of hard. So through that, you kind of have to um, come to some kind of a resolution as to how you're going to view things. And we talked about before, we said divine intervention, and we've talked about other instances where you feel like there was divine intervention on something. And you asked me, about it and how I felt. And in the mind, when I think of divine intervention, well, there's intervention and non-intervention. So you always have opposites, because in the mind, everything has the opposite. But over the years, I've learned you have to take things from the mind to the heart, and you can only feel it. And I guess if you feel it, you feel everything is already in balance. So it becomes divine balance, because if someone has cancer, um, you try and heal them, you try and do what you can, but everything is in place. Their cancer is an expression of something that's created balance in the universe. So you just got to kind of separate yourself from it and feel it. And when you feel it, whether you help them or you don't, everything's still perfect, I guess would be the word, because everything in the universe is perfect.
Yeah, but when
that's my opening statement.
Yeah, thank you, Douglas. And when you bring in this, it's like when my oldest son had cancer. He was 3 years, he had liver cancer. And this was in 1996. And I took it personal. I saw his cancer very personal. And we cried, and it was crisis. And the doctor said he will die. They prepared us to the worst case scenario. And this year, it was so emotional. And I gave away all my power kind of to the doctors, because I was young. I was 21 at the time. He was my firstborn. And so I gave all. I was so afraid. So it's like every power to the doctor. You know what to do. So I kind of shut down. I didn't have my. I closed my heart actually. I haven't reflected like this. So I felt like I closed my heart because I was so afraid. So if I had experienced this 20 years later, I would not trusted. I'm sorry to say, but I would not have trusted the doctor the way I did that, because I totally went into everything they said, and a lot of thing bad thing happen. But if I had standing in my truth, in my essence, I know that it would have been better. At the same time, I learned so much from this year he had cancer because he get past this cancer. But and I have worked with cancer as a grown up, and a lot of people that have what you call it, you get healthy and then you come back. What do you call it in English?
When you have a relapse,
Relapse. You have cancer, then you are okay, and then you get it
yeah,
back.
and then it comes back. It's a relapse. Yes.
Yeah. So I have a lot of relapse, and what I learned from all the relapses that I work with was that they hadn't worked with the emotional stuff. They had
Yeah.
been operated and everything, but then there are so many layers of us. And
Yeah.
also what we are calling a universal balance. This is kind of a layer that is we haven't
Yeah.
talked so much about that, and I didn't trust the universe. To be honest, when I my son had cancer, I didn't trust the universe. I didn't believe in the universe because I lived with a pain body, so I have shut down. So it's like,
Yeah.
where are you on your path? Do you trust this life unfolding?
Yeah. But it's the first thing when someone has cancer or something, or their child has it, or a spouse or loved one has it. The first thing, it's always based on fear.
Yeah.
Everything is fear based.
Yeah.
And because of that, we have a hard time accepting things and we make our decisions like you did, which is a normal decision to make. It wasn't unusual to make it based on fear. And so you want, oh, the doctors, we want them to take care of it. But people can also not trust the doctors and say, I want to do all natural. And they become fear based on that. And they start doing things based on fear at the same time, even though it's all natural, and it's going to have the same result. Anytime you do anything based on fear, it will never really, you're never going to have the positive results you want. I had a client, I won't get into a lot of details, that had breast cancer, and she wanted to do this, some kind of a hyperbolic treatment for it. And she decided that was exactly what she had to do. And it was all based on fear. And I tried to tell her, I said, you need to balance that out. And she did so much of it, it actually destroyed her. And because you can overdo anything, you can have something can be healthy. You can take too many herbs. You can do too much exercise. You can eat too right. I mean, there's you have to have balance in everything that you do. But generally, it's based on fear is why we do everything. If we can move from the fear and just feel like the universe, everything's, and then just go with what's in the universe. Just feel that way. You'll let go of a lot of the anxieties, the fears, and that's the healing process.
I'm so agree because this February I get parasite in my system, and I spoke
Yeah.
to you about it, and I have loved them up.
Yeah.
I communicate with the parasite, and I'm not afraid of them. And I have gotten so much knowledge and insight from talking to the parasite, why they came into my system. And it's like, wee, because I went into this Christianity, and it was a lot of fear-based studying theology, and they kind of mirror the collective field I went into. So it's like, okay, thank you for informing me. So, and I haven't seen I'm not afraid, even though I still have some parasite, but they don't bother me. But they teach me so much.
That's the most positive attitude I've ever heard anyone have for parasites. So I remember last year or something when we talked about that, and when you said that you're going to love the parasites, I was like, she's crazy. That's crazy. But then when you think about it, that's actually the smartest thing you can do, and it's I appreciate. I've learned a lot from you about parasites with that. So I mean, that's cool. That's really good. But
But you also said this can maybe take a go sometimes because first I think, okay, I just want to get out of, I don't want them anymore. But then, and you said, but this can take time, or else you have to do kind of this way or that way. And I thought,
yeah,
okay, it's okay if it takes time because I have already learned so much from my parasites. So it's like, okay, I'm friends with them. They don't because they are in my lymph system, and the lymph system is
yeah,
kind of our immune system. So
yeah.
how, but they haven't infected me in a bad way. It,
No,
yeah.
Yeah, I say parasite. Everybody's got parasites, and we live with parasites. It's like anything. We have lots of different things, bacteria and friendly and bad bacteria in our body, but we're in balance, so we can live with our parasites. It's not. It's when we're out of balance that the parasites can take advantage. So that's why we never fear it. We never go, "Oh my God, I gotta kill every parasite I've got." Just get back in balance. That's the whole thing for health, health wise, for but so I think most of health is mental.
Yeah.
It's the physical part's important, but if you don't do the mental part, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Things will never work. You'll have what you call a relapse. You can
Yeah.
physically stop something for a while,
Yeah.
but yeah. And also something, and I'm just going to bring this in because this is something when I was going to medical school, I used to. I like natural health, and so I had the Natural Health magazine, and they had all the greatest articles. And I clipped something out about coenzyme Q10 and what it did for the mind and everything like that. And I'd file, and I had 4 or 5 years of files where I took all these articles on the natural therapies and how they worked, and I used to categorize everything. So this way, I said, I've got this whole database of knowledge for natural therapy. And what after 5 years of going through it, I realized it all contradicted itself. And what worked then doesn't work now. So I had to take everything that I'd studied and put and done, and I had to throw it all out and realize that everything is constantly changing.
Yeah.
So when somebody comes out and says, "Oh, this is a great thing, it works," and everyone runs to it and it works, and all of a sudden, after 6 months or a year, it doesn't work anymore. But why is it? It's because the universe is in balance, and as soon as we try and unbalance it with something that's you, if you're not with like we have this supplement that's going to help us, it may help you temporarily, but eventually the universe is always going to be in balance, and things are going to go back to the way they were.
Yeah.
And so everything has to be done at a present time, at the present moment. So health depends upon not researching articles and doing this and it, I mean, you need the experience, you need the history of everything, but then it has to do with at that moment, what do you need right then? And unless you're in touch with your inner self or your higher self, you're missing the best part of health is being in touch with who you are, because your answers are all inside of you.
Yeah, and what you are talking about is the divine timing.
Yeah.
I call it
I've never
divine
heard that
timing
word, but I
because
like that word.
yeah, I know a lot of things that's happening in the future. And when I got a lot of information, it was kind of overwhelming. And I tried to stop because it was hard things. And
Yeah.
something I wanted to come earlier. So I tried to interfere with what I know already would happen and also change something that I didn't want to happen. But I saw that, okay, it was kind of my learning way path because divine intervention and divine timing, I just have to trust also that. So what I'm doing now, I saw that for 7 8 years ago, but I tried to force it kind of then, but now it unfolds the way I saw it. So I have kind of, okay, divine timing.
Ah,
I also see when we are talking about divine balance, it's a concept that divine timing for, because this is a process, physical process.
yes. Yeah. Huh. I've never thought of that divine timing. Um, but when I reflect on it, I think a lot of it's always been there. I've just never recognized it. I think that's a very cool thing what you said. That's going to give me something to meditate on because I'm going to have to take that's a tool now. Divine time. I'm going to have to take and bring that into my arsenal of stuff I use because I like that. Thank you for sharing that. So
When we go out of the mind, as you have said, we can feel all things. But when we go out of time and space, because there are
yeah.
an existence place beyond time and space, and beyond time and space, everything happens simultaneously, and we cannot understand that with my mind. But when I had all this download, it was so much, and it's like, okay, if all this is going to happen, so I tried to, how can all this happen? So I tried to be in it and happening all at once, but that cannot be. So that's when I understand, okay, there's something about divine timing.
Yeah. Um, when you say that, reminds me because time, because we all look at time as a linear fashion,
Yeah,
which the mind
yeah,
can do.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
but if you can take time doesn't exist when you move it to the heart, to the feeling, there is no such thing as time. And so I think the key, what you're saying, is everything has to be moved from the mind to the heart if we're going to be able to have divine timing,
yeah,
because then it's not like, oh, I should have done that or I should do this. It's just there is no should have or will do. It's just now, and everything boils down to that now. So I think people have to be able to, I think the tricky part is taking it from the mind to
yeah,
the heart, because that is the hardest thing. That's the challenge. That's what everybody is trying to do, and we talk about it, but we don't really know how to do
yeah,
it. It's that's what the gurus and everybody are trying to teach us, and you can't. It's not something you can teach somebody. They have to experience it or discover it, and
yeah,
that's I think you've done that, and I in a small way I have too. I feel like I have, and I think that's I think unless people are willing to explore themselves and get beyond the mind and into who they really are, I don't think they're always going to be a challenge for them, health wise, mentally, and emotionally, everything, until they can do that. So I think that's the key to health in a way.
yeah. When you work with people, do you kind of tell them that this can be an opening, like kind of an awakening, because our disease and imbalance in the body can actually be really like an opening, like cancer. Cancer can be the biggest um, boost if we
Yeah.
really go into,
Some people I can. Some
yeah,
people will accept it. Most people, no, they don't want to hear that. And what I find is most people, when they come to you, they think of because I work with natural therapies only, and they come to me and say, "Okay, I've got this, and what are you going to give me for it?" Well, and you say no, because you try and explain it's a mental thing, it's an emotional, you have to discover. And most people don't care about that. They just want an herb, they want something that they can take just like regular prescription, and they think that's going to help them. So some people, that's all I give them because that's all they're going to accept. And you have to understand that that's where they're at in their world, and you let it go. Other people, you can see that they're on that border, and you kind of push them into, well, let's talk about the emotional issue. And sometimes they'll close up, and other people are really open. So everyone's different how you approach it.
but you said an important word, what we accept. So what do we accept? Because most of my clients, the last 5, 8, 10 years, they know that I heal. They come to me for healing. And when you
Yeah.
kind of are into healing, then I think I cannot say for certain that you already have opened your mind for a bigger picture because you are seeking healing. It's kind of a
Yeah.
big picture where if you want healing because you have felt the energy, it's like, we, you really shift our mind, shift the state. Because I heal to my heart, as you say. I use my heart, open my heart,
Yeah.
be a channel. So a lot of people, because this was also my path, I am a therapist and had so many tools to help them, but they didn't want my tools. They wanted my healing. It's like, what?
Oh,
I wanted to work with them from my mind because I had so many tools, but
yeah.
they wanted just healing, just me open my heart and channeling this bigger force. So that also was my kind of path.
Okay. Mine's, I don't want to say the opposite, but
Yeah.
similar, because I don't have any healing ability in me as far as energy wise. All the thing I can do is just kind of give them programs. I create programs for people, but I use my higher self. The
Yeah.
term higher self, God, I call it the Avalokita, and
I
that's my
love
term
that
for
term.
it.
I
And,
love
and
that term.
yeah, and so I use my Avalokita because everything is connected in the universe. And so when I create a program for somebody, I do kinesiology. It'd be is where you do the muscle testing that, and as long as you're connected to your avalokita and you use kinesiology, then that's how I create programs. It's not me healing or anything like that. It's just all I'm doing is just connecting things. It's just almost like plugging in different things, and it's a little computer. It comes up and it says exactly what they need, because that's what their body is communicating to my higher self or my avalokita, saying this is what I need, and then I just pass it on and tell them, here's what your body just said. And so I'm just kind of saying, here's what your body wants, and their body knows more about what they need than all the books, all the medical books out there. And I'm always surprised sometimes. I'll try and do a program for somebody, and all of a sudden I get this answer. I'm going, well, that's crazy. That shouldn't work. There's no reason why. That's not even a logical answer. But I know enough to say, don't question it. Do it. Because if I question it, then I don't want that that freshness, that openness with my avalokita to go away. If I keep questioning things, you can say, all right, your avalokita will always teach you a lesson. So you always accept what they say, and it always works out. And sometimes my avalokita says you can't help them. They don't need to be helped. They shouldn't be here. They are on a journey. Let them be. And I've told a few people that, and I said, I'm sorry, but I can't help you, and you feel, but at the same time, they're on a journey. That could be an exciting journey for them too. We don't know.
Yeah, and I have clients that are in the dark night of the soul, and they want me to heal them, and I do, and they get a release for a week, but they are in the dark night of the soul, and the dark night of the soul is an experience. It's a deep, deep experience. So when you are already in this dark night of the soul, thing will happen. It will be crazy. So what I can do is support them and say, you are in the dark night of the soul, and all the system, because they think they will die, because it feels like you are dying, and the old you are dying. So it's a death process, and so I support them in the death process, but they want me to do more, but I cannot take them out of the dark night of the soul, because the Avalokita don't want it. So it's a scripted journey. So then it's more to support them. Okay, this is because I will die. And I have been through the dark night of the soul for 6 years, and I thought I would die. It feels like you are dying, and yes, the old programming is dying. As we are talking about the mind, how it is programmed, this is dying. So the only thing we can do is go to the heart and feel. That's the only thing, kind of the surrendering to the heart, as you talk about divine balance.
And that, I think, again, we go back to that same statement, that unless you're willing to move down to the heart with everything, it's just we're out here. It's a game. We're playing with we're out here trying. We don't understand. We're lost. Until you can move to that, you're going to be lost. And so I think if people, rather than worrying about their financials and all this and their relationships and everything, try and find that place in the heart, because once you do that, all that other stuff becomes secondary. It works itself out. You have an understanding. So I think that's the key to almost everything, really.
I agree. And I know that earlier when we talked, you said what game we want to play. Do we only want to play the game on Earth, the duality game, or a bigger game?
It's I like the game on Earth. Okay, I'm going to tell you why. All right, I mean, because going back a little bit of the history. Okay, when for me, I had no desire. I was very superficial. I didn't care about crap. I just liked my life. I thought I was doing pretty good financially. Everything was going along, and I had a wake up call when because somebody once asked me when I was on an airplane. This is back in the 80s. I was building a hotel in the South Pacific, and we used to fly down there. And the stewardess goes, "Oh, you must be happy." And I go, "Well, why?" She says, "Well, because you're rich." And I go, "I don't think I'm rich." And she says, "No, but you fly first class. You have all this." And I see how you're dressed. And she goes, "You're happy. Someday I want to be rich so I can be happy." And I was thinking about that, and it just really just got under me. And I go, and I almost hated her. I was like, damn her for saying that, because I realized I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
And my whole life was built. I wanted to have all these things in life. I wanted to have the big home, the whole thing, and all this, and the fancy cars, and I got all that.
Yeah.
But then I was, I'm not happy. And so that started the whole thing of, well, why aren't I happy? I mean, I have everything. And all of a sudden, I just felt lost. It's like I didn't have anything anymore. I was poor, right? After she said that, I became poor.
Yeah.
And so that's what started me on my journey to where I had to figure out what things were about. So I went back, and of course, I got rid of everything. The universe helped me get rid of everything. And I moved to Mexico, got a little house on the beach, and bought a surfboard and a fishing boat. And I decided I'm going to figure out what life is about.
Wow.
And so I started off, and all I did was fish and surf for quite a few years. And I went in, then I decided to go into medical school and stuff. But I think for me, I still didn't, I was still superficial. I still didn't, I thought life was going to be about just relaxing and surfing and fishing. And that didn't bring happiness. And so I started looking at all the metaphysical stuff. I started studying religion. I went through all the religions, Hinduism, Buddhism, and everything like that. But it was some guy, I went to it was a seminar. It was in an auditorium. The guy was from Siddha Yoga out of India, and he was doing a presentation for taking their classes. And I said, yeah, I'll go to this thing. There's a couple hundred people in this auditorium, and this guy's giving his presentation. He's down there and everything. And these guys up around me, there's a gang of guys there, and they started making noise and talking and just they're kind of being very disruptive and disrespectful. And I was kind of in a bad place at the time. I just got up and cussed at him and said, you guys shut up now. Blah, blah. And I said, oh, and I threatened him and everything. And I said, now get the hell out of here. We're trying to listen. And no one else was saying anything. This poor guy down there talking, you could see he was bothering him, but he wasn't going to say anything. And afterwards, the guy came up to me, and I thought he was going to say something negative. And he says, no, thank you. He says, I was fine, but I appreciate you doing that. And he put his hand on my shoulder. And I go, okay. And his name was Tom Toomey. I remember this. And so the next day, when I wake up in my apartment, the laundry room's right next to it. My whole body's vibrating. The whole bed's vibrating. And I go, oh, shoot, someone's got that washing machine's off cycle. And I'm going to make this story short because this is a long story. But so I got up and went in there, and there's no washing machine going. And so I go and lay back down. I tried to go back to sleep, and my body's shaking again. I go, oh, that's something neurological. And so I went to the doctor. I got all checked out. And long story short, it's somehow this guy had activated a Kundalini. I guess that's what it's called. And because it took me 6 months to figure that one out after I went to different specialists and everything, and it took me 3 more years of meditation before I could get that thing to stop. It took deep meditation. It wasn't until I was able to go into myself, and this thing was like this was some forcing me to have to still the mind, let go of all the thoughts, and move everything into here. And until I did that, I couldn't get rid of this shaking. And it wasn't physical, but I could feel it as my whole soul was shaking. And so that kind of was again, I didn't want to do it. And I cursed this guy, Tom Toomey, for quite a while. I finally sent the guy a letter years later thanking him for it. But at first, I really hated the guy for what he did, because I said, you just screwed up my life. And so however it happens to you, for me, I consider it a blessing what this guy did, because otherwise I would still be out there. I never would have been on the path I'm on now. And this guy put me on a path. It was a forceful one. The universe realized, I'm not going to go gently. You're going to have to drag me in here kicking and screaming. And that's what it did, until it forced me to, through meditation and focus, to where I can actually focus on the heart. And I have to stay there too. If I go out up to here too often, then it's, but at the same time, that's where the Avalokita, that's where the heart, that's where the God experience is. But I also understand that I don't have to stay there. I mean, this is the world we're in. So this is like a playground for us. And I love playing in the playground.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I could go out and play all day and stuff, but I knew my home. I knew where my home was, and that's where my security was, and that's where life was. That's the nucleus of my family. And so I went out and did all these play things, but I felt confidence and secure because I had a home.
Mm.
And I go out and play. I enjoy my life. I don't. I like smoking my cigars and drinking my whiskey and everything like that. But I know that I've got a home. I know I have a place, and for that, I can go out and enjoy things. I don't have to try and discover anything spiritually. I don't care because I'm fine. I'm kind of really content with life right now, and
Yeah.
that's and so I think a lot of times people feel like they have to devote their lives to that, and you don't have to devote your life to spirituality. Because I've met other people, like this one guy in this. We have a cigar group. Oh, so this guy, he's tuned right in, and he goes, yeah, and he's out there enjoying life too, but he never talks about it. He never says anything. So I kind of like that, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you bring it up that, it leads me into the concept we had talked about earlier about the constitution. All of us have a constitution. We can have a strong constitution or a kind of weak constitution because you mentioned alcohol and drinking. Someone can do it and it's okay. They can drink a lot
Yeah.
and smoke a lot. But others have such an unbalanced kind of constitution that they have to work with their health all life, kind of.
Yeah, you have two different things there. First, you have an addictive personality, and that's the one thing. I don't have an addictive personality, luckily, because I grew up in Southern California in the drug era of the 60s, and we tried everything. And it was like, yeah, it's okay, but I never had that addiction to it. And it's like with cigars and whiskey, it's Saturday night. It's once a week. It's not like every night we're out. It's just Saturday night we have it for fun. The other thing is the constitution and of the body, the physical constitution of the body.
Yeah.
I think I've got a pretty good constitution, but I do iridology, and so I can look in a person's eyes and I can see the constitution. And doesn't mean that you're going to be healthy or unhealthy. I have one friend that has, I can just look in his eyes and see that his body does not communicate with the different organs aren't communicating. And that's what a constitution is how the different organs and systems of the body communicate together. And and a person's eyes will show you how well they do that. But I've seen people with really bad constitution, and yet they're healthy because they absolutely take care of their bodies. They have to. And I see other people, and I say, man, you can drink, smoke, you can do anything you want. You're going to be fine. Nothing's going to happen to you. And so that's just the luck of the draw well, it's more than that, but it's the luck of the draw when you're born. And it's something you're born with. It's not something you can create or do anything about. But yeah, and so you need to understand the constitution of your own body so you know what you can and can't do, what your limitations are physically.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it goes back to understanding yourself, your essence, and how your constitution is. Because I remember you read my iris, and from you reading my iris, you could tell all about my body. It's like, wow, because I haven't
it's
irisology or earlier.
iridology. Yeah. No, it's amazing because everything about your body shows up in your eyes. You can diagnose almost everything, I would say, shows up in the eyes, and it's an amazing tool. It's just a tool for another tool that you have in trying to understand your journey, I guess.
But what I have done, kind of natural, without thinking, I look people straight to the eyes. I don't look what clothes they have. I don't see their hair. So if people say, can you see something different in me if they have lost a lot of weight? I don't see it because I see straight to their eyes. It's like I hack behind its physicality and go into the bigness of them. So I think this is a aspect of my healing. It's like when you heal, you just go straight to the source because all of us have the source in us. So I don't see that what we have here, the body. I pass the body. I don't know how I do it, but I just do it.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I don't even, I can't quote it right. It's something that the eyes are the windows to the soul.
Yeah.
And that's true. They are. They're the windows to the soul in more ways than one. I just look at the iris. You look at the soul. And that's,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's kind
Yeah.
of cool.
So
But
we look at the same. So you look at the iris. I pass the iris. I don't know.
yeah, you do. You go right into the soul of the person. And that's amazing when you think
Yeah, and
about
I
it.
think when we contact this essence, the light essence of us, that is the biggest healing there is. That's what so I have experienced a lot of pain. Very much. You know that I have experienced. You have
Yeah.
helped me
Yeah.
translate the Health Bible into English.
Yeah.
So my path has been the pain body, and it went me to okay, there is a force there that wow, that really can heal, and I have to, the only thing I need to do is go out of this. I have to go totally out of this programming and let the heart
Yeah.
guide my way, the
Yeah.
what I do naturally.
Yeah, yeah. No, but that's the key. You're doing right. And so, and you've had a journey, and because I read the book, your
Yeah.
book, the Health Bible, and that is a journey that amazes me. I'm still astounded by the things you've gone through and been able to go through. And I just said, man, I'm glad I haven't had to go through the things with your physical health and everything. Like I'm like, my gosh, you've gone through a lot. It's I'm always amazed when I see you that you're able, it's like, wow, look, we call it the refiner's fire because you've gone through the fire and it's like taking metal, taking raw ore and then to putting it through the fire till it's just this pure metal. And you've done that. That's an amazing thing. I'm not trying to, yeah, I'm going to prop your book. People need to read your book because it's an amazing book. It's taught me a lot about myself. And
Oh, thank you.
so I
Yeah,
can see that. Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people tell, okay, have you written about me? So I have heard people say, have you written? Because I share so many layers of the physical, because it started with my son, who had cancer, and he also
Yeah.
committed suicide in 2015.
Yeah.
So I show his life and then a bigger life, my life, and other people that I
Yeah.
work with to how can I wanted to understand health. So
Yeah.
in a bigger
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that was
you
after,
definitely, yeah, you hit the nail on the head when you did that. I'm really impressed with it. But no, it was good.
thank
But,
you.
and again, health is. I look at health as my. I don't know. Say everything has to do with me. Everything that I think about with the opposite always has to do with health because everything we do has to deal with health, whether the clothes we wear, everything. And I don't know where I'm going with that. I'm going to let that thought go. I'm not going to follow that one. That takes us into a whole nother realm.
But if
So,
if we go back to divine intervention and divine, because miracles, epiphany,
okay.
we want to explain it, but we don't have words and we don't actually understand the depth of it. So how can we? I want to highlight this concept because we have talking about divine intervention is happening in everybody's life every day, but we don't see it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. Um, I'm going to think about how do you answer that because I can't really look at divine intervention. I used to. I don't like thinking about it. And because when I do, it brings up opposites. And divine intervention means there's a favorite. Well, how come the universe did this and it didn't do that?
Yeah.
So people have to get away from that. They have to go, and unless you're willing to, again, move it down here to the heart and feel it. You can take divine intervention and say, I want to feel divine intervention. And the minute you do that, you'll come up with divine balance. It's
Yeah.
just it transfers itself to that.
Yeah.
So that's the only way I can look at it because you've had experiences. I'm sure we've all had crazy experiences that we can't really. I've had some things that just I scratched my head and said, I don't know how the universe can do something like that or how that can happen. There's no science behind it, but that's the universe. That's divine balance. Everything is everything about us is a miracle. when you think about it. All life is a miracle. I mean, look at the human body and anatomy and how all the things function in the body, the cells, and all the communication that goes on to heal and to recognize and to keep the body's temperature in homeostasis. That's a miracle. That is. So we can't even really explain that. I mean, science can sit there and go, here's how this works, but we can't really understand why does it work? Just how, not why. And again, we have to move to the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is a fascinating topic, and yeah, we want to understand it. At the same time, the only thing we can do is just surrender kind of to it, because the more I work on my surrendering almost every day. I think in the beginning I thought, okay, now I have surrendered it all. But then it's that no, 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 no. And I surrender and surrender. And the more that I surrender, then I feel that I live with miracles. And when I now, the last couple of years, I have seen back through my life what happened when I was younger and all the crisis and son with cancer and 5 children, 4 of them had a lot of health or colic and but all this crazy thing happening when I watch all what happened to me with my perspective now that I'm kind of awake, I see, wow, how many divine intervention there was. It was so many divine intervention, but I feel kind of like a victim because it happened so much, so I couldn't see the divine intervention because it was I just have to cope because it was whoa, 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 whoa. It was so many balls in the air, kind of. So I couldn't see all the divine intervention because it was just to survive kind of all these balls with the challenges.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're falling. You're falling. You don't have time to really analyze, where you're going to hit. You just know you're falling. Yeah. So, yeah, no, it's everything about our lives is again, it's divine intervention. You're right about that. I don't know really. Again, I go back to if I try and think about it because my own life. I look back now, and they said you can think back, and you go, my gosh. I don't know how I'm still alive. I shouldn't be alive. There's been so many times when some little thing just happened and if it just gone a little different, I wouldn't be alive. Just stupid little things. And we all have that. Everybody has. So that is the divine intervention. But again, it brings down to it. If you look at it in the whole picture, it's just balance. It's the universe has to stay in balance, and that's what it does. And that's the beauty of this world, of this universe. But
and when we talk, the universe wants to be in balance, but what we need to, as you say, also we have to. This balance is through our heart. It's not from the mind. The balance is through our heart. So we have to feel the divine balance, not think about the divine balance, because then we go into our personality. The personality, oh, save me. Why do I have this? So we have, if we want to be in divine balance, we have to do it through our heart.
Yeah. No, that's the only way you can. Yeah, because the mind is just, again, I go back to the mind is a playground. This is where we come out. We're on this earth. Let's play. Let's have fun. Don't think about it. Just enjoy because you know where you are. You know where you came from. You know where your family, you know where your home is, and your home is here in the heart. And so go out and have fun and don't think about it. To me, that's my philosophy. And just enjoy this world we're in. So many people try and they want to do everything to escape from this world mentally and emotionally. They want to escape, and I want to go out here and think about this. I don't want to think about this world. But we came here. We're on this earth. I mean, this is where we chose to be, and we came here for a reason. The reason is not that I have this. I have to do this or I have to do this. We don't really. I don't want to say that because it'll sound wrong. But if I say, I'm going to say it, we don't really have a purpose. When I say we don't have a purpose, I'm going to have to qualify that because we try and everybody wants to feel like they have a purpose. And so there's like, this is going to be my purpose in life. This is what I came here to do. And that's silly. because we came here to live in this world, just to experience the world, just enjoy it and experience. That is your real purpose.
Yeah.
If you want to create all these other things you want to do, that's fine. I think it's great. I'm so glad people do that because they create all these great things for us to experience.
Yeah.
But that's not really what our purpose is. It's just to be here and just to uh, if
Emanate
there's a
love.
purpose,
Emanate
it's
love.
able to is to be able to recognize where your home is.
Yeah.
You came here so that you can recognize where home is, and it gives us the that is our main purpose. Then from there you can do whatever you want. I know I've worked with people. Um, a best example of this is there was when you came and visited us once. There was a lady we had dinner with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, and she has so much spiritual understanding. I learned so much from her. She did some therapy. I did some therapy sessions with her, and what we learned from that was this lady was probably one of the. She's called a pillar of the earth
Yeah.
because, and she would not without understanding anything. She was able to just talk about the universe, the creation of the universe. She, as soon as we settled into a little bit of therapy, boom, this her Avalokita would open up and just talk. And she didn't have a clue what she was saying. But I know she came there because she had a lot of fears and she had post-traumatic stress disorder. And we were working with that. And we took care of all of her fears within a 1 hour session. Every fear she had in the world went away and her whole heart was opened up and everything came. And then I worked with her for the next 2 years, going just getting her to understand everything that had happened to her. And the hardest thing for her to understand, I'm coming back to the main thing, is that she didn't have to do anything because she had all this knowledge, all this information. She has the wisdom of the universe sitting inside her.
Yep.
And she can just, and we spent a couple of years of her just talking about all the wisdom of the universe. And there was stuff that was so deep and so heavy. I was just like, oh my gosh. But it finally took a while for her to realize, she said, well, what is my purpose? What do I have to do? There is no purpose. There's nothing you have to do. Just relax and enjoy the universe. That's you have a gift that there's only a handful of people in the whole world ever get that kind of a gift, that kind of a connection to the universe. And you don't have to do anything though. Just be happy. And that was the hardest thing. And once she got it, she's happy. She lives, she plays, she does everything. She's a normal. You met her. She's just a normal person. But my gosh, if you ever flip that switch on her, you've just connected right into the whole universe of all the information. Everything you need is right there. And it's amazing to see that. To me, that's the best example of what our real purpose in life is. Just enjoy it.
Yeah, and she is a good example that I see that we are in a time where we are going into a new species kind of, because we
Yeah.
have, if we, you say we don't have purpose, but if we have a purpose, it's inside us. We play, we do what we love. She
Yeah.
feel all the universe and all of, I cannot say that all of us can feel the universe. I also feel the universe because when I'm in my heart, it's like it's so much, so we have to choose because we live in duality, so we have to adjust to the polarity and duality. So what of the aspect on earth do we want to feel, do we want to experience, do we want to understand? But we can actually feel the whole universe, and I think the young people in much more than we as grown up can feel the whole universe, because this has been kind of I felt it like my curse, feeling so much. But if
Uh,
we live from the heart, we can feel the whole universe.
we all have that potential, like you said. It's all there.
Yeah.
It's opening it up. It's like when I meditate, sometimes like I'll go through a session. I said, and my wife will have to deal with it. I says, now I'm going to just, I don't want to, I'm not reading a book. I'm not doing anything. I just like to sit there and just feel things. And I'll go through a couple, 3 weeks where that's all I do. Just not all I do, but when I have, 2 or 3, 4 hours a day, I'll sit there and I'll just let the whole universe come in and you just feel your whole body expanding. And just like, wow. And I just want to, I almost want to just stay there. It's almost like a drug.
Yeah.
You feel like it brings you in. You're just like, wow, that's the whole universe. But then another part of me realizes I can't do that. That's great. That's home. That's where you want to be. But now I'm ignoring life. I'm not participating in the world anymore, and it starts dragging you in. That's where you want to stay. And I know that that's where I love to be. It's my favorite place, but I have to. It's an addiction that I have to stay away from. So I go out. I like to play and stay in the world and do that. And every so often, I have to go back. And when I say every so often, every morning, I always go back in. I spend a little time there just to be there. Then I go out in the world and say, okay, now let's just go out and rock and roll. Let's have fun. So you have to, again, you have to balance everything too. But everyone has to experience it. Everybody has the ability to experience it. And I think you're right that as the generations are coming in, we're opening more. Our bodies are more open to it. Where 100 years ago, it was not even, there was just a few people here and there. Now you have generations of people that are experiencing this.
Yeah.
And I think it's wonderful. And hopefully it gets to be more, because we are superhuman people.
Yeah, we are. And what we are talking about is kind of what we call bypass. We are bypassing, and you say, but we are living in this reality. So why do we bypass? We go to astral traveling. We bypass our emotion. We bypass a lot of things. So what you are saying, that why don't we just relate to everything that show up in our life? That's kind of the divine balance. If we
Yes.
so
Yeah.
not to bypass, to experience whatever is in our surroundings.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the fun of life. That's what makes life great, is to be able to do that. And it's like, I love to drive a car and cuss at traffic because everyone drives too slow. They just don't know how to drive. They're in the wrong lane. And I enjoy just criticizing doing that. But I don't take it seriously. But it's why it's fun. It's like everything. We have in business and everything like that, you have people that just piss you off. You just want to smack them, but you're not going to. But there's another part of you that that's your playground. That's where you're playing. But the other part of you here knows you're just playing. It's not real. And then you can always go back there. But it's fun to go out and just do all those things, and then just drop back in and say, "Ha, that was fun." And I
But
don't know.
I'm glad you say it's playing, because when I grew up in a very serious family, so we didn't see it like playing. I had to be very serious. Life was
Uh,
serious, and you meet it with serious energy, kind of. So I didn't know how to use humor.
uh,
Even though my spirit was kind of playing, and everything was amazing, but I grew up in a family that everything was very serious. So it's a total shift to say, okay, the world is a playground, if versus, okay, life is serious. You have to have a serious talk. You have to go through it
yeah.
analytically and logically, everything. So
That's a really big difference. Yeah, so how do you deal with it now? Do you see it
no,
as a playground, or?
yeah. I see it as a playground, but
Yeah.
I'm glad also I came from that paradigm. Everything was serious. I had to see life so hard, and life was hard because I learned to see with those eyes. Life was hard. I had a lot of body challenges because I was in my family that took life serious. That's why I could write the health Bible, because
Yeah.
I kind of subconscious, since I was in this surrounding, I created a lot of resistance, a lot of
Oh,
unhealth, because my perspective was, okay, life is serious, life is hard, life is all this hardness. It wasn't easy, and I didn't see it as a playground. So
yeah.
perspective, and what family and what do we learn, the perspective and the mind programming, where we come from, because the mind program also create our reality.
Yeah, that's true. And in your case, you had a lot of resistance in life. When I say resistance with the harshness and everything like that, compared to somebody that I think our family, we were a very religious family. I mean, it was like church every Sunday and you had all this and da, 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 we grew up with it. And I grew up in a religious background. It took me a while for I was finally able to get rid of that mentally, emotionally, to get all that religious stuff out and live life. But I think overall, my when I grew up, everything was carefree. It was fun. It wasn't financial hardships. Life was pretty well okay. At the same time, I didn't get a lot of strength from that. There was no, I didn't have any resistance in my life. Where somebody that grows up with a lot of, they have a lot more resistance. And it's like the tree. The one that has the most wind is the strongest. It's the one it's always blowing on us. So it's going to create deeper roots. Um, so, and again, the opposite example, the guy that where his daddy is really rich and he gives him everything, that kid becomes worthless. He has no value in life because he didn't have any opposition.
Yeah.
So it needs, what's that old saying? There needs to be that there's opposition in all things.
Yeah.
Otherwise, and I can't remember how the rest of it goes, some kind of a quote, but we have to have opposition. So that opposition is what made you so strong.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't have a lot of opposition. I had to have somebody infuse opposition really quick, like in my life, in order for me to move into that next level. Otherwise, I never could have done it because life was too comfortable for me, I think. So I was kind of force fed opposition when I was in my 30s, and that kind of, yeah. But it's good. So we need that opposition.
Yeah, and also to see all that, even though I didn't feel that it was gift, it was a lot of gift having so much resistance because I had a lot of resistance and fear. But
Yeah,
now it is kind of my tool. I really, yeah, I have deep roots kind of into Mother Earth. And even though I talk with the other side and have connection
yeah,
with the whole universe, and it's easy to fly. It's easy to fly high when you go to the universe and merge everything. But at the same time, my roots into Earth are very long also. So I feel
yeah.
that I'm in balance.
Yeah, I think you are. I'm going to agree with you on that one. So yeah, and I don't know. I've never thought about that for myself, whether how deep my roots go. Hopefully, they go pretty good. Not as deep as yours. I guarantee you that. I don't have all that opposition that you had. I have different type of opposition in my life. I've had my own things I've had to deal with, and I thought I came out pretty good from a lot of stuff. But everyone's got their own challenges in life where we can't compare ourselves to anyone else. And some people can take more in a challenge. Some people, you can't give them much. And the universe, I think, I've heard this. I don't know. I have to think about it. The universe only gives you enough what you can handle. And I've heard that. I don't know if I agree with it, but I'll think about
Yeah, I have thought about that a lot. I When I was in the middle of it, I felt that it was too much. This is too much because
that.
I said, please, I want to die. I don't want to be in this body anymore. It's too much.
Yeah.
But but when you are in the middle of it and your body is crazy and you have so much pain, it can feel like it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
But I at the same time now I agree. But now I'm out of it.
Yeah, right. Afterwards, it's good. It's easy to say once it's over.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
At the time, yeah, no, I agree with you on that. At the time, you're like, why? No, you want, if we had an exit door that we could just walk away from that experience, we would. Yeah, but we don't.
Yeah, and for 6 years I was in the dark night of the soul, and people and my family and all around me, it's like, what's happening to her? It was crazy. They couldn't relate to it because it was so much pain, and it was kind of what's happening this 6 years. It was kind of 300 years of experience. It was so much. And I'm glad that I wrote a lot of it down because it was so much. I couldn't digest it all. So when I was out of the dark night of the soul, then I tried to kind of balance it out.
Yeah, yeah.
So that there we come with the divine balance and the cosmic balance or whatever we call it.
But it worked out for you. Everything worked out. It's just at the time, again, you didn't, it's like you couldn't see. Your everything was like this,
Yeah.
but eventually it opened up, and I think a lot of people are in that place right now. And
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think hope. I think the people listening to your podcast probably aren't. I don't know. Maybe they are. I don't know who your audience is really. So,
But I'm
but if some,
yeah, I'm
but
guiding.
if somebody,
Yeah.
no, go ahead. You got it.
Yeah, I guide a lot of people that are in the dark night of the soul. So I wanted to say that, okay, as you say, it feels like we don't see it and it's pain and it's hurtful and everything is crazy. Pain, pain, pain. It's like, will it be like this forever? Because I said, please let me die. And it is light in the end of the tunnel. That's what I wanted to say. It can be, and mine was 6 year. I don't know. It's a long time. I cannot say that it will last 6 years for everyone, but it can last shorter. And I think we
Yeah.
are now in a time that it is shorter.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, probably is. I will say I've never experienced the dark night of the soul. I don't have anything I can compare it to. Um, but I guess I'm thankful that I haven't had to do that. I've had other things, but again, not that.
Yeah.
And so I don't really know how to relate to that. But I know physically, because when people have that, it's an emotional thing, but at the same time, it's also a physical thing.
Yeah.
So if the only thing I can say to people is if they are in that, they don't just look at the emotional part of it, look at the physical part of the body, because the body, if you can generate a healthy body or balance in the body, that will help with the balance of the mind. It'll help pull you through. So I think we have to look at everything in a holistic way.
I just got a message. The lady you talk about having the universe inside of her.
Yeah,
You worked
yeah,
with her. She was in the dark night of the soul. So I just wanted to say that
yeah.
she had a dark night of the soul when you worked with her.
Yeah, I can share this part with she was raised she was an orphan on the streets of Brazil,
Yeah.
and she grew up in Brazil as an orphan, and so her whole life was nothing but fear and trauma and
Yeah.
everything. And then she married and came over here to Sweden, and but she still had all those fears and phobias, and everything about her brought fear.
Yeah.
One thing, for example, when her transformation happened within, I mean, I've never seen anything like this. It happened within minutes. It's just like next thing, one thing, she is this person with every phobia and fear. She can't do anything. To everything is just completely burned away, and there's her life. The first thing she talked about, she went home to her family, and she realized, and the next day we met for another session, and she said, this is my children, that I don't have the same love for them anymore. And she goes, I don't understand. And so we talked through it, and she realized that her whole relationship with her children, she feels like I don't even know my kids. And she says, because her whole relationship with her kids was based on fear.
Yeah.
And everything, her whole relationship with her husband was based on fear. And so and she realized all of her relationships were fear-based. And then but now she has a new relationship. So she was able to create all new relationships with them, not based on fear. But at the same time, there was a detachment, because the fear creates attachment.
Yep.
If you don't have fear, you don't have it. And so that was something that was, for me, I learned more. I think I learned more from her than she learned from me. So, so everything we have is based on fear, and we have to think about that. And we have to be able to separate ourselves from the fear. Again, the only way is to go into the heart.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you talk about her, that's what also my dark night of the soul was. I didn't see that I actually had a relationship to my children that were based on fear, because I feared for them. I wanted to protect them,
Yeah.
and also I had attachment to my husband in fear. So I had to transform all of that. So the relationship to my kids, I know, just emanate love, and I support them. They think it is all the love, because I come from love now all the time. So from being protecting them, in the beginning they wanted me to protect them like I did, like a responsible and
Yeah.
protecting. But now I protect, not protect them, but I just emanate love, hold them in love. So that has been the hardest part for my family, because I relate to them differently. I hold them in love and not in fear because something bad will happen. So I think this is the biggest shift for us, because when we go to the dark night of the soul, all our relationship shift. We don't have relationship based on fear anymore. So, and then we kind of, but protect me. We want to be protected, but we want to be protected from this mind kind of. So when we then go to the heart and just love everybody, and that's the biggest protection we can do. But that's the hardest for people who are still in the old paradigm, thinking about fear, protect me, and
Yeah.
then protecting from the heart, that is kind of surrendering to the universe balance, divine balance.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about you view everything through love,
Yeah.
when you do that, people, most people, not a lot of people think when love, they think of the opposite of love as hate, but love has no opposite, because true love is singularity. There is no opposite to love. Love cannot really be described or explained. Fear-based love is not love; it's something else. But so that's why when you look at your family now, you feel love, but you feel the universe. You feel, again, you're feeling divine balance
Yeah.
because you see that everything's fine. So there's no more fear for your family because you know that everything is as it should be, and
Yes.
that's true love. That's kind of cool to know that, to
Yeah,
experience
but at the
that.
same time, when I was in the old paradigm, I felt I did everything for my family. I really did. I erased myself. I did all
Yeah,
in the universe, all I thought I could do, but I didn't. Uh, I didn't open my heart. I quite
uh,
was kind of the
yeah,
old programming. So the most important thing was kind of living with an open heart, the trusting the
yeah,
universe, and that was the missing link, because from my childhood I learned that I had to listen to the words, erase. I closed my heart when I was 5 years to survive in my family. I had to close my heart as a 5 year old, and doing that, you don't trust the universe. You
yeah,
just you are just in your mind. The mind wants to protect, and then it's fear based.
yeah. And I have a question for you. Have your kids noticed, because they saw when your relationship with them was fear based, and then when it transformed to be a love based relationship, how did they react? Did they feel abandoned? Did they feel,
Yeah,
um,
they felt abandoned.
yeah,
They felt
yeah,
that I didn't care anymore. They said,
yeah,
you don't care anymore. You don't protect you, because I was very responsible. I fixed everything. I was kind of the good girl, doing everything right from the script,
yeah,
from the society. And when I went out of the script, going just to be in the heart and allowing and with love, then they 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 felt that I rejected them. And
yeah,
also, we have the child protecting system that I went crazy. So I get three warning on me because I suddenly stopped kind of to protect the way we have learned to protect. So they said they wanted to take the kids away from me. And so three times I was in kind of the court with the child protective system, because they wanted to take the mother, what do you call it? That I am the guardian of them, because
yeah.
I
The
had,
parental rights. Yeah, they're going to take away your parental rights.
yeah. So I had become crazy. And because I believed in reincarnation, I talked about healing and the universe, connecting the universe. So they saw me as a crazy person, healing people, and healing was kind of, then you are a woo-woo, you are a witch. So
Yeah,
they wanted to take the children away from me.
yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So that's like you see from the old paradigm to the new paradigm, it's a total shift.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And in relationships with the children, your children saw it because they were so, the attachment, the dynamics between the two of you were so, there was so much of it. But you have also the relationship with your parents, with your spouse, with your friends, that changes. And it's not as noticeable because they don't have the close dynamics that you did with your children, but it's still, they notice it. And if a person isn't able to communicate with their friends or family and explain how they love him different now. It's not the same. It's not based on fear or possession or anything like that, or rewards and punishments. It's based upon a love, a heart-based love. A lot of times they feel like you don't care,
Yeah.
like you don't.
And
And
yeah, my mother didn't feel that I care anymore. My husband didn't feel I care. So all of them felt that I abandoned them. So all of them
yeah,
felt abandoned when I shifted from loving them instead of protecting them.
yeah. No, that's one of the. Uh, Nothing is easy when you're on your journey to your personal journey. There's always things like this that are going to come up and people will, I don't say they're trying to stop you from your personal journey. People don't want you to change.
Yeah.
And it's I had just a little funny story. The lady we were talking about, she had a friend, and they used to shop. They loved shopping, and they're just all these great friends. And matter of fact, she was the one that introduced this lady to me because she needed help with some therapy. This was another client of mine. And the next day, they got back together because she wanted to see how things went with her first session. And this, of course, now the lady that I was working with, she was just brutally honest because she realized, because she also had the ability, she could see everything, she could feel everything that a person felt. She could see right into a person. And she says, we're not really going to be friends anymore because we're in two different worlds right now. I'm sorry. She was trying to be as nice as she can. She says, but I don't have anything in common with you. And her friend came to me crying, she's changed. She changed her back. I want her changed back. I want my old friend back. But at the same time, people will try, and if you're trying to progress and you're changing, rather than celebrate the fact that they are on a journey, on a path, people want to drag you back down. They
Yeah.
want you to be your old self. And so that's something we have to understand people are going to do, but we can't allow that to happen. We have to keep moving forward and
That's a
what we
perfect
feel is
example.
forward.
It's such a good example because that's what's happening in families, that's what's happening in friendship. Because when we do a quantum leap in our being, because we do quantum leap and we see true people. And I also, in 2013, I lost all my friends except one.
Wow. Wow.
It was only my cousin that followed me through my new shift. All the other, and my family was there, but for a period it was hard. This 6 year was hard. I cannot say and
Yeah.
uh, but she was the only one, and she was kind of, will I follow her or will I not? So she went in to do. She did it consciously. Okay, I choose her because I know her, even though I don't understand everything she do now because it's crazy.
Yeah.
But she's the only one it kind of following me through this new being that I am. Now I'm kind of owning my essence. I know who I am.
Yeah. So she supported you. That was it's if that's the hard part. If you can get family and friends to support you in your journey, that would be great. I don't know how to go about doing that. That's how because I talk with sometimes I talk with people about how to go on that journey or how to start it, but I've never really thought about how they can get family support to do it, because most people don't want to. They don't want to see you change. Nobody wants to see. I mean, it's one of those sad things in life, but we like to see people fail. We love to look in the news, and when somebody, this rich man is now poor, and he's like, or he's in. We like to see, not that we like to see it, but there's a certain satisfaction in seeing no one else get ahead. And so we also have to recognize that some people don't want you to have that. People are jealous, or yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those sad things, but it happens, and we have to recognize that.
Yeah, but when I had transformed this dark night of the soul, I could go on like the new way I was. But I used between 3 to 5 years to adjust my family to the new me. And now they are all supporting me. But if
Yeah,
I in when I was finished in 2018, 19, if I just went on this path by myself, it will be a gap. And there's nothing wrong with it. But I thought, no, I want them with me. But then I needed 5 more years to kind of, they got to know me in the new way I am. And now they know that I'm the way I am and I help people and I do things they don't understand, but they support me. I say, okay, if this is what you want, mommy, do it. So they support me now, but it took 5 years.
Wow. Yeah,
So
but you did it.
So then the time perspective come in.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. No, I've never, I didn't have to do what you did. I didn't really have, I had a few friends. Actually, I made most of my friends when I was on the journey, and they were on the same journey. So
Ah,
some of us, so I have friends that were on their own journey, and we kind of stay in touch over these years. But I never had people I had to get rid of or anything like that. My children, yeah. My experience with my children has changed somewhat, and I have some that are really close, and others that are not as close. We still have a love and we have a bond, but others I'm still really close with. But others, they can see that I said things that they probably didn't like to hear. That it was a little detached, but it's like, no, this is you, your life. You take care of yourself, and I'm not going to. I'm not afraid for that. You can do what you want. And sometimes they felt I should have had a different view of it,
yeah.
but we kept. So I didn't really have a lot I had to go through with friends or family or anything like that. And when I went through most of my experience, I was single. So it wasn't until I had actually that's how I met my wife Lena. We had things in common, so it wasn't a giant leap. She didn't have to see this crazy person transform or anything like that. So that kind of worked out. And we've been
Yes.
married 23 years or something. Yeah. So
Yeah, so when you go on a journey, it is easier if you are single.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's so much more work if you want your family with you, and sometimes the family don't want to be on the same journey. They want to be in the world they have programmed to think.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And you have to allow that. You have to allow your friends and family to take their own path. I
yeah,
mean, I've had my kids come up and say, "This is my path now," and it's just like, dang, or damn. It wasn't dang. It was damn. Why would he do that? And it's like, but you allow them to be on their path. That is their path, and just let it be, because it always works out. Things they're where they're supposed to be. Again, there's that divine balance. Everything is already there. And I think that's the thing. If you can just look at everything in life and just think of divine balance, or try and feel divine balance, then you can let things go, or you understand how the world is and why things are in the world. And rather than try and say, because right now everything's fear-based in the world. We have economically, I know that I've had friends come and say, "Oh, there's economic thing," and it's just,
yeah.
it's where we're supposed to be. Just let it be. Everything's okay. The whole world's okay. Yeah.
Wow, we went on a journey in this call.
It was. I didn't know how this is going to go because I'm not really big on podcasts or talking. Told my wife, I said, I'm not really sure this is going to work out. I don't know how to say things, but it worked out. I appreciated the time we had to share this.
Yeah, and thank you so much for all you shared. And yeah, I think we really lifted up some concept and a shift of thinking with just thinking about the universe as balance.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. I've learned a lot. This was this was a really good experience for me today. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
For me too. So thank you so much, Douglas.
Okay. All right. Enjoy your day.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Divine Design podcast with Ann-Peggy Divine. You can follow divinedesign.it on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok. Join us next Sunday for another Heaven on Earth unfolding conversation. With grace, reverence, and unity, may the path of your divine design light the way. From the divine in us to the divine in you.